Des Moines and all of Central Iowa, welcome to Mac's World Live. Mac's World is your world. Every day we talk about the issues and topics that matter most to you. And as always, it's your voice we want to hear in Mac's World. So join the conversation by calling 515-244-0077. And now, here's the host of Mac's World Live, J. Michael McCoy.
Good afternoon. It is 4:06. It's a Thursday, and I am not J. Michael McCoy. Those are the only things I know for sure. This is Mac's World Live. I'm Chris Roloff. I will fill in for this next hour for Mac. He had some important business he needed to take care of. Ryan Northfield is producing. Frank the Verse Thomas is on the mic. Bob Mozzarette is here watching the chat. We talk about that a lot. If you are not driving home yet and you are sitting at your desk and you're wanting to waste the last 30 minutes of your workday, I suggest you do it this way. You go to webcast1live.com and enter the chat and visit with us for a little bit. And then when you get in your car, flip on 99.3 FM and enjoy the conversation as you go home today. The number, if you want to participate live on air, as always, is 515-244-0077, or as Max says, 0077. Definitely call that and weigh in on any of the things we talk about today. And later on in the broadcast, I'm going to be giving away pairs of tickets actually to the VeggieTales Live event that is Tuesday. So it's coming up very soon.
I had no idea. I wonder why.
You had no idea.
Probably because I don't have any little kids. Right?
You don't have any. It's really not for you. Well, you can go, Bob.
Yeah, but if I go without a kid, that would kind of look ridiculous.
They might suspect something odd. Yes. You should always take children with you to these kinds of shows. That's absolutely true. So we will be giving away tickets to VeggieTales Live. That's Tuesday, November 3rd. So stay tuned for that. What do you guys think? Is Mac a racist? That's what we were talking about after the air. I don't know if you heard the last segment of the show, and I know he's listening. So, Mac, you can call in and defend yourself if you want to. But it's tough being a white man in America these days. And I say that, I'm not kidding. I mean, we need to be scapegoated. We are seen as people who need to be punished for the years and years of oppression against a lot of minorities, and so we're going to be targeted.
Let me say something that is racial commentary that is not racist commentary. I have read some reports, I read some studies that black men prefer the color of milk chocolate in their women. So even, I say this because, now hang on, don't, before you roll your eyes.
Well,
before you roll your eyes.
Who did the poll?
What I'm saying is that I'm asserting that there's even racism amongst black people. Now, they will say that they can't be racist because they've never been in power. And you have to be in power to suppress somebody else to be a racist. But they're still fighting the Civil War amongst themselves. Who was the field blacks, who was the working blacks, and who was the butlers, maids, chauffeurs, etc. So I'm contending to you that clean your own house before you come over and clean our house. In other words, if you want the F word to stop being used, stop using that word. Would you agree?
No, but there's a big difference between you're talking about racism, which is simply making a distinction between people based on race, right? There's race distinctions, but what you alluded to is the ongoing problem, which is the oppressed and the oppressor. There's always going to be the struggle between those who are oppressed and those who are the oppressor. The people in power are going to oppress the people under them. That's just the way it is. Jesus talked about it when he said that Gentiles lord it over others. I mean, this is not a new problem. Whoever has the power is going to be oppressing other people. That's just the state of things, because humanity is, again, I'm sorry for those of us who think that humanity is basically good. We are not basically good. We are basically evil. So, Frank, we want power, and as we get it, we're going to naturally, unfortunately, oppress other people. If the roles were flipped, white people could be oppressed.
But you've heard this comment, I'm sure you're old enough to have heard this amongst the black community, that somebody isn't black enough. Now, believe it or not, Al Sharpton, when Barack Obama first ran, made the charge that Barack Obama was not black enough and didn't come from slave blood. And then later on, when it was shown that Obama could beat Hillary, then Al Sharpton later on jumped onto his campaign. But the allegation was thrown out there by Sharpton that Obama was not black enough. So is that racism among some black person that thinks he is superior to someone else in his race?
Again, I don't think this is just semantics. We've got a problem here when we continue to use the word race.
I agree with that.
When we continue to say race, the reality is that there are people who have power and there are people who don't. And the people who have power tend to oppress others. That's an unfortunate reality and one that we must fight against, and even in our own hearts. Don't you agree, Bob? I mean, when I look, people right now that are listening online on their mobile app or at home at their office through a web browser or something like that, they're in a work environment. They may not be the uppermost management, and they're not the people in power. And the people in power are going to treat the people under them differently, right, Bob?
Especially if you're a Christian.
Well, and especially if you're a Christian. And I think that, and weigh in on this if you'd like, 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077. I want to hear your opinion. Are you oppressed? Do you have the power? Do you think you're oppressing other people? Do you think I'm missing the point here altogether? And it's simply a matter of whites and blacks and Hispanics and purples and blues and yellows and whatever it is. Or is it really just about those who have the power and those that don't? But Bob, to your point, Christians for a long time in this country had the power.
Mm-hmm.
We were the majority force. Whatever Christians said, whatever the church said was what people believed, and they wanted to hear what the church says. And I'm afraid that those days are waning, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't the case, but I think that the church doesn't have as much power as we used to, and I think it's starting to bother people. What do you think, Bob?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you look in the news, in the media, they're always showing a story of, that coach, that high school coach that was praying with his students, and he was basically, I don't know if he was fired, but he was suspended or whatever.
Right. Well, you bring that up. I actually have the news story right here in front of me. This was reported by Todd Starnes at Fox News on the 26th of October, so just a couple of days ago here. A school district in Washington State has decided to play hardball with a football coach who refused to stop his midfield post-game prayers. It got a little bad. The coach received an exclusive copy, Todd Starnes received an exclusive copy of a 3-page letter sent to the high school to Coach Joe Kennedy by the superintendent. The superintendent said any further violations will be grounds for discipline up to and including discharge from district employment. Easy for you to say. Basically, the guy's going to lose his job not only at that high school, but throughout the district if he doesn't stop praying on the field after the game.
Mm-hmm. Right, and it's a voluntary thing.
And that's a completely voluntary thing. It's not mandatory. The coach went on to say, I was really shocked. He went out of his way to accommodate, to not make it mandatory, no doubt.
Right.
No doubt he was accommodating as best he could, but this is just unacceptable to some
based
people.
on a complaint.
Is that right?
I believe it was someone complained. And usually everything is based on one person that complains for some reason, and then it shuts down whatever they were doing that was good. And even though the majority in this case appreciated the coach and what he did and how good he was with the kids and so forth, and was a good example, they're basically shutting that all down. And I think if you look at the reasoning, is the school system afraid of being sued? I think it comes down to money and suits, and so we're going to comply because we don't want to get into this and have lawsuits and so forth. And so then what it comes down to is the person is let go or whatever. Obviously, he could also file a lawsuit, I suppose. But as a Christian, should we? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
In some cases, somebody may represent you and
sure,
fight for your
religious freedom to do that, your religious liberty to do those things. Yeah,
exactly.
public displays of your faith. Absolutely. What's up, Frank?
Well, let me suggest something to you, a little off topic, getting back to the race issue.
Oh, okay.
You've heard the term color of justice.
Was I supposed to let him do that?
No,
I was not. Okay,
the color.
So we'll move on now. So I've got about 2 minutes left, and we're going.
You've heard the color of justice, And people like Malcolm X and Louis Farrakhan has taught the black man and youth for years that there's no fundamental justice under the white man's system. I would contend to you the color of justice is not black. The color of justice is not white. The color of justice is green. It's who's got the money, who's got the Benjamins, is where you get justice or not. So whose fault is it? You got to come down to this basic premise. Whose fault is it that some people have money and some people don't? I don't think it has anything to do with the color of your skin.
Well, it sounds like to me you agree with me, Frank. It's about power.
Well, yeah, sure. And money's power.
Right. So that's again, I mean, we have to be honest here and understand that there are people groups in the United States that are not the ones who have power, and they don't like it. I mean, at some point, you get a little tired of being under the thumb of somebody else.
But Chris Rock was making the point of just driving down the street as a black man, he's gotten pulled over so many times in a month. I got pulled over as a white man driving an older model car in Urbandale years ago about 3 or 4 times in the same week. So am I being profiled because I have longer hair and I look like maybe a hippie and I have an older model car?
Yes. Sure.
Absolutely. I'd pull you over.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But see, yeah. Well, anyway, I've got Veggie Tale tickets to give away, and we're going to do that right when we come back. I want to give you a chance to call in and win those tickets, so stay tuned. I'll give the details about the event and how you can win those tickets when we come back. And by the way, I read this. We'll talk about it when we come back right here on The Truth on 99.3 FM.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can give these grandkids back if you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We can help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah! If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Bob the Tomato, Larry the Cucumber, and all their veggie friends are coming to Stevens Auditorium in Ames for an all-new, fresh, funny, and unforgettable Veggie Tales live event called Little Kids Do Big Things. That tour is coming to Ames. This is not a video. This is a live Bob the Tomato, a live Larry the Cucumber, this Tuesday in Stevens Auditorium. Veggie Tales Live. Show starts at 6:30 this Tuesday, November 3rd, and I want to give away 2 tickets to the third caller right now. Just call in the toll-free line or the call-in line, 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077. The third caller is going to win 2 tickets to that event, absolutely free, thanks to our good friends at Stevens Auditorium.
And what age children are you going to have that would be interested in this?
It's a wide range. It's a wide range. I mean, my daughter's 7, and I think you'd probably go up any elementary school age kid, possibly some middle school kids. Now, here's the funny thing. When I was in high school and college age, I watched a lot of Veggie Tales videos, man. A lot of Veggie Tales videos. Now, I don't know, as just a college student, if I'm going to go see Veggie Tales, but hey, maybe. They're fun. They're very fun. So we were talking about who knows what before we went to break, but I did want to say, Frank, have you seen this, Bob? Have you seen this meme? I don't know, I guess you call it this meme. And it says, it's better to sit in a boat thinking about God than to sit in church thinking about fishing. Have you heard that before? Listen to that again. It's better to sit in a boat thinking about God than to sit in church thinking about fishing. Do you agree with that statement? Call me, 515-244-0077. Phones might be busy, people winning Veggie Tales tickets. But what do you think, Frank?
Well, I've often criticized some people that I won't name that are you worried more about the sermon or it's squeezing lunchtime?
Right.
I mean, if you're sitting there in church and you start looking at your watch and you think the preacher's a little long-winded because I'm getting a little hungry and it's lunchtime, that's not a good sign. The preacher's not keeping you enthralled.
Sure. What do you think, Bob?
Well, I could recall when I used to sit in a church building listening to someone preaching, they would say a certain thing and then my mind would drift. Not to fishing because I'm not a fisherman, but it starts to, it gets off course. And you start, because you're not being active, you're just kind of sitting there.
Yeah.
And so I understand it, but it'd be nicer if you had other believers in the boat with you. And then you could have church in your boat.
Well, now, yeah, maybe you could have church in boat, but you know what? I think what's funny about this to me is that it sounds like to me the person who would agree with this statement has an idolatry problem. Their idol is fishing. It doesn't matter where they are, they're really just thinking about fishing. When they're in church, they're thinking about fishing, and when they're fishing, oh, sure, they might think about God occasionally, but at least they're fishing. And, these are funny things to say, but I wonder how much they really affect the church, how much they affect the heart of man, that we really, my hobby, and I just confessed this to a pastor friend of mine just the other night, my hobby is board games. I play a lot of family-style strategy board games. This isn't just Monopoly and Clue for those who care, like things like Settlers of Catan and Ticket to Ride, these kinds of games. I play a lot of these games with my family and my friends.
Don't you also develop games?
I do attempt to develop and design board games. Yeah, it's kind of a hobby of mine. I don't fish. I don't watch a lot of sports. It's kind of my hobby. And this past Sunday, Ryan, I will confess to you that our pastor, Wayne Larson, was yammering on about something, and I was thinking about board games. Because, see, this Sunday was my birthday, and I had cash in my pocket that was going to get spent on buying a new game. And I was sitting there while the pastor was preaching thinking, I wonder if I'm going to buy this. Well, I've only got so much money. Maybe I could get this one, and I could get this one. And so could I say it's better to be playing a board game thinking about God than sitting in church and thinking about board games? I mean, is that okay?
I think a lot of it's the pastor. We had a pastor in our denomination in the 1970s when my daughter was born, around 79. And he was about 5'8", and he barely come above the pulpit. And he had this way to change the pitch in his voice from high tones to low tones. He would literally rock that pulpit back and forth. He was such a storyteller. He was such an expert on the life of Christ that he kept you so enthralled in the sermon and so enthralled in the story, your mind didn't deviate and wander. Mm-hmm. And then we got a pastor after he left that happened to bury my my grandmother on my grandma on my father's side, and he was one of the humblest, most sincere, just dedicated men that I had ever met. But he was so mono in tone that I found myself falling asleep in the pew. Because even though he was a very sincere Christian, humble man, he just couldn't keep you into the sermon.
Well, you know, Frank, though, but I think it's one thing to be bored by a sermon, and I can understand that. But we do seem to have, you know, the Des Moines Register put out this article. They shared some data that was collected that church attendance is going down in different ways and different amounts throughout the state. It's kind of a neat infographic that I've got here in front of me. And I'm looking at some of the counties here. And this percentage that I'm going to give you is the percentage of people in that particular county that go to church. Okay. In Boone County, it's 53.3%. In Sioux County, you think it's lower or do you think it's higher than 53%? In Sioux County.
Sioux County.
Lower.
That's northwest Iowa.
Yeah,
Lower.
Sioux City.
You think it's what?
Lower.
No.
Lower?
Oh, it's Woodbury
Sioux
County.
City.
Is Sioux City. Woodbury
Sioux-
County is Sioux City.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I've got a Sioux County. Woodbury. Ooh, Woodbury County.
Woodbury
Sioux
County
City.
is Sioux City.
That's Sioux City. Okay, so yeah, that's 59%.
Oh, really?
wow.
But as you go north there, Plymouth 73%, Sioux County is 85%, and Lyon, I think that's how you say that. Lyon County,
yeah, way
is
up there.
87% of the people attend church.
well,
in
the
that
colder
county.
it gets,
You got to go to church to stay warm. You got to catch that fire. Got to catch that fire. Well, it's really interesting though. But down in Decatur County, on the south edge of Iowa, it's the lowest in the state. 33% of the population attends church. Now, where do you think Polk County is? Do you think we're closer to Sioux County at 85, or do you think we're closer
Lower.
to Decatur?
Lower.
You think we're lower than Decatur?
I think we're lower than the 59%.
You think we're lower than 59%? Ryan, what do you think? Are we higher or lower than 50% here? Ryan says we're higher than 50%. This is like a really fun game show. We need like game show music here. Bob, do you think we're higher or lower than 50%?
well, I'll just take the middle. How's that?
You think we're at 50%.
Yeah.
What do you think? 515-244-0077. I want to know, where do you think we rank? What percentage of people right here in Polk County, in Des Moines, in the capital city of Des Moines and the Polk County area, how many people, what percentage of people attend church on a regular basis? 515-244-0077, and I'll give you the answer later.
Let me ask you this, Chris.
All right.
Do you think it would be possible to fall asleep or your mind wander during an Ernest Almstalden sermon?
Or a Reverend Lovejoy sermon. You know, does anybody else other than me know who Reverend Lovejoy is? Reverend Lovejoy is the comedic pastor from the television show The Simpsons.
Right.
Oh,
He is very boring. Yeah.
But I doubt very much if you could fall asleep during Ernest's sermons. And if you did, he might come over and smack you around.
Well, let's go back to the reason why we're talking about this is because you maybe have seen these memes. They have t-shirts of this. Honestly, they've got, I'm sure they've crocheted this on a pillow, but it's this phrase, this idea. It's better to sit in a boat thinking about God than to sit in a church thinking about fishing. And I argue that the person who says that just has worships fishing more than anything else. Their idol is fishing. And it really is, God is an indifferent part of their life. But so you could be listening to Pastor Ernest Almstalden and think about anything. Maybe it's the big game that's on right now. Will the Cubbies win the World Series? Right? Whatever it is. You talked about cooking. Now, unfortunately, I'm a guy who likes to eat. So sometimes I'm thinking about food. I'm thinking about my belly. I'm thinking about other things. And it's really not the pastor's fault. I don't think it's the preacher's fault. It's the fact that my heart doesn't desire the things of God, that my heart is divided.
yeah. Well, let me ask you this, Chris or Frank. You can answer it. But is there a favorite place where you like to communicate with God? Meaning that when you want to communicate, is there a certain situation or place you want to be or condition you want to be?
Yes.
What would that be, Frank?
I find my most solitude in a car, or actually for some strange reason in the shower. And I have wonderful thoughts in the shower, and as soon as I lay my head on the pillow, I can't put two words together.
Anything, Pierre? Good?
You know, I really don't have a favorite place, to be honest with you. Maybe that's a problem in and of itself. I don't know.
Well, you know, I like to ride my motorcycle, which I haven't had a chance to do much, but I call it helmet time.
Yeah.
When I'm in there, because I have no radio, I have no distractions.
Right.
I can't use my phone because I don't use Bluetooth or anything like that.
Right.
So it's just me and the motorcycle rumbling, and that's a good place to pray. Or being out on a trail to walk, taking walks and being alone.
Well, and here I'm going to go with you, Bob. Reading back to this statement, when you're out riding your motorcycle, you're doing that. And to think about the Lord at that time, that means the Lord is, he's on your heart. That you desire to be with the Lord when you're on your motorcycle. That's a good thing. You know, I mean, that's partially in this statement, to be out in a boat fishing but thinking about God. That's a good thing. Mm-hmm. But to say that to pit the things against each other is to devalue church attendance. And I think that as a culture, you know, and look, we're on Christian radio right now. Right? We're
having church right here.
Well, but on 99.3, there are a lot of sermons. You can get a lot of sermons into you listening to 99.3 on a regular basis.
Right.
And so we can be accused of encouraging people not to attend church because, well, you can get your message from 99.3.
But isn't that forsaking the gathering of believers?
I would agree. That's forsaking the gathering of believers, and we should be going to church. But the problem is, what are we thinking about when we're there? Are we really there because we want to impress the guy sitting next to us or the gal sitting next to us or whatever it might be? Are we there to seek the Lord? And maybe there are just less people or more people, depending on what county you're in. I mean, 80%, that's great.
Well, here's the problem. Small-town churches clearly have to be dying, and attendance has to be going down in small-town churches because small towns are dying. The rural communities are shrinking in Iowa in particular.
Well, that's fantastic. Okay, so you've got like a rural county like Greene or Boone, right? We talked about Boone is 53% of people attend the church. Greene County is 56%. But you go one over to Carroll. Do you think Carroll's higher than 56% or lower? Do you think it's higher than 56% in Carroll County?
Probably not, because it's south. I mean, it's not of those counties.
What's Muscatine County, for example?
Well, Carroll County, 88% of people attend church in Carroll County. More than 30% more than in the county right next in Greene. Why are more people going to church in Carroll County than they are in Greene County? I don't know the answer to it. That's fascinating because I don't think that there's that many more people. Look, I don't know Iowa that well. Are there that many more people? Is Carroll a more bustling town?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Is there any stats for Muscatine County?
I'd have to look, and I don't know exactly where Muscatine County is.
Did you mention Polk?
Yes, there is a stat for Muscatine County. I have not answered the question of what Polk is, so think about that now. Okay. You said, Frank, Muscatine County, 41%.
Well, the reason I mentioned that, it just in my denomination, I heard a statistic one time that in our Iowa-Missouri Conference, our Muscatine County was the most faithful, tithe-returning church. So I didn't know if maybe that somehow the tithe returning related to attendance or not.
When we come back, we're going to answer the question, are there people in Polk County that go to church? I don't know. Probably not. Maybe you do. You're listening to The Truth, 99.3 FM. I've got more VeggieTale tickets to give away when we come back.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
I'm Brian Leach, owner of Service Legends, and my position is Chief Talent Officer.
I'm Nicholas Wonderscheid.
I am Bernie Hobbs.
And I'm the Service Manager.
Marketing Director and Client Relations Manager.
Everything that we do is about ensuring that we exceed your expectations.
Our clients are important to us. 100% satisfaction.
We're not just focused on heating and cooling. That's the easiest part of our job, actually, is fixing furnaces and air conditioners.
Everyone that we come in touch with, we want to improve lives.
Bottom line is, we've got our installation guarantees, 25% energy savings guarantee, comfort guarantee, temperature selection guarantee, property protection guarantee.
100% satisfaction guaranteed, fixed rate or it's free.
All of those guarantees are backed up with a 100% money-back guarantee to hold ourselves accountable to making sure that you get what you're after.
Just fixing the problem today. If they have another problem 5 days down the road, it's still fixed rate or it's free.
We use what's called straightforward pricing. Our technicians are going to give you an exact to-the-penny price on what it's going to take before they move forward with any repair. That way you know what to expect.
It's the same price every day.
No surprises.
If you get off work at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you come home, you realize that, oh, my furnace is broken. Now you need to call somebody out that night. You shouldn't have to pay more for that.
We're guaranteeing service 24/7.
We run afternoons, evenings, nights, weekends. We're staffed to work that.
Phone rings at 3 in the morning. You'll get one of our representatives answering the phone every time.
We're not sending you out to Timbuktu in some call center. It's our Service Legend team members, our mission control team.
I'll take a call anytime.
And then they answer the phones the same way during the day as they do at night.
It's a great day at your service company. How can we make you smile?
That's the only way to provide true 24-hour service.
When you're able to let somebody actually live in their home safely when they weren't able to do that before, where they don't have to stay up at night and worry about, is the heat going to come back on? Are we going to freeze the pipes? Is the baby in the room next door going to be sick because they got too cold? When you're able to help somebody overcome challenges like that, that's impacting a life. That makes a difference. I get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love the team. I love the people that I work with.
We have fun, but we work hard.
I call them my ambassadors of legendary service. If you could just envision what that is, that's who we're sending to your home.
They literally will call in, pick up the phone and call and say, hey, I want to talk to your manager. And I get on the phone, they're like, that technician that was at my house was the greatest technician ever. That's cool to me.
We want to brighten people's days.
Every person that we have going into the house has gone through an extensive background check.
Drug testing, we have a very thorough interview process that 1 out of 140 people make it through.
If we promise you something, that's what you're going to get, no matter what.
We're here when you need us to protect the safety and comfort of your family.
If you're not happy, we're gonna make it right.
If we're willing to put 100% money back guarantee on what we do, what type of work do you think we do?
Give us a call. We're there for you 24/7, 365 days a year.
Enough said.
All right, welcome back to the broadcast. This is Mac's World Live. I'm Chris Roloff, sitting in for Mac on this last hour. Thank you for tuning in. I know that you have a lot of places that you can listen to, and you're choosing to listen to us on your drive home, 99.3 FM. Thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying our conversation. We've had quite the bit of feedback during the break of people responding to our question. The thing that we're talking about is, what percentage of people in Polk County go to church? And we're going to answer that question. But first, I want to give away some tickets to Veggie Tales Live. Bob the Tomato, Larry the Cucumber, and all of their Veggie Tale friends are coming to Stevens Auditorium in Ames with an all-new, fresh, funny, and unforgettable Veggie Tales Live Little Kids Can Do Big Things tour. That is Tuesday, and that's just a couple of days away, so I've got free tickets for you. Tuesday, November 3rd. The third caller will win those tickets. The number to call is 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077. Already had callers in today on the broadcast, so go ahead and call. We've got more tickets to give away before the broadcast is over. We did have a call come in over the break. Russ had a guess. So let me, on the percentage of people in Polk County that go to church, let me give you some context to this. So we look at the percentage of people in different counties that attend church. So up in Sioux County, we've got 85%. Now, I don't know how you say this. Kossuth, K-O-S-S. Kossuth. Thank you. Kossuth County is the highest. Kossuth County is the highest with 89%.
That's Algona. Mm-hmm.
That's Algona?
Algona is the main city there.
Okay. And then let's see. The lowest one is Decatur County with 33%. So you have more than a 50% difference between those two counties right here in the state of Iowa. The phone lines are all lit up, so keep calling. If we don't get to you, we do have tickets to give away for that, as well as chiming in on how many people you think
we have 3 calls lit up right now, so if you're on hold, wait for Ryan to get to you.
Yeah, please wait for Ryan to get to you. Stay by your phone, or keep the. I don't know. What do you say when you're on a cell phone? If you got a Bluetooth in your ear, thanks for driving safely with a hands-free device and calling in. So the question is, what percentage of people in Polk County attend church? Is it high, like in the 80s? Is it low in the 30s? Where do you think it is? And Russ called in while we were in the break, and he just thinks it's right smack in the middle. About
Let
50%.
me ask you two guys a question.
Okay.
And I'll base it on this. Generally speaking, Polk County, generally speaking, the rural counties are more conservative, and the Polk County generally goes Democratic.
Okay.
All right. Do either of you guys think that political party affiliation has anything to do with religious attendance. So as goes the politics of Polk County, do you think religion follows? Faith follows that? Do you think Democrats or Republicans are more spiritual than the others?
That's a great question. What do you think? Are Democrats Christians? 515-244-0077.
Well, don't put it that blunt.
That's what Frank is asking. Are Democrats? If you're a Christian and a Democrat, please, by all means, call in and tell Frank that he's being a bigot. 515-244-0077. Bob, what do you think? Do you think that as we go left as a country, that affects church attendance?
Well, never really thought about that.
No.
But it's certainly a possibility. So I say that's a big maybe.
That's a big maybe. All right. So no, we got one more segment left before the end of the show. So I want to know from you, do you think in Polk County, and now we have to say also in the break, we got a piece of information from Ron, our traffic and production manager here at the station. He comes running into the studio screaming at us because we were talking about in the smaller, more rural counties that it should be less. But again, these are percentages. This is not a number of people. So if there's 2 people in the county, and only one of them goes to church, it's 50% of the county. So this is a percentage of the population that attends church. So again, it looks like when you look at this map, it really is interesting. When you look at this map, really the northern half of Iowa has greater church attendance, and a little bit west. I mean, even look, Pella. What county is Pella in?
That would be Jasper.
Is that Jasper?
No, it's not Jasper.
No, it's one of these over here. I mean, I know where Pella is, but look, even in Pella, it's not as high as it is up in some of these northern counties. But what's interesting is as you go down to the south and to the east, it's a lot lower. So where is Polk County? Do you think, where are we at? Are we up in the 80s? Are we down in the 30s? Call in with your answer, 515-244-0077. I'll give you some VeggieTale tickets.
And when you mention Ron and traffic, can you specify traffic? That's not automobile traffic we're talking about.
I'm sorry, that's radio lingo. He's the guy that makes sure all the wonderful commercials run.
Okay.
Yes, so our wonderful sponsors run because Ron is doing a bang-up job. Sorry.
And he also has his voice on occasion, right?
He does. He is on a few commercials.
He's over there secretly calling in for VeggieTale tickets.
Is that what it is?
I think that's
Ron,
what happened.
you can't win VeggieTales tickets. Employees of 99.3 cannot win VeggieTales tickets. Frank, you can win, but you do have to call. I will not give them to you here over the table.
You know, I wonder on that survey if they're talking about people that go to a church building or.
Yes.
Okay, so they're talking about going to a building.
I would assume so. Let me read this. On average, let's see. I'm going to read this here. Worshipers and congregations in Iowa by county. On average, about 54% of Iowans in 2010 attended a religious service at one or more than the 5,100 congregations. This is persons who meet regularly to worship. Okay. This is of all faiths in the state. That's interesting. This is all faiths. Right. So it's not just necessarily even Christians necessarily. Right. This could be Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, anybody that meets regularly to worship. Any kind of, Baha'i, the Baha'i meet. They have regular meeting services. So, yeah.
I was fading out there a little bit or spacing off.
I'm glad that you're saying your attention.
You're including Islam and Buddhists in that that report.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. As I read these, it says all faiths.
Okay. Well, that might change people's guess then, because I thought we were talking just strictly about.
I apologize. I'm assuming Christian. No, you're right. But you think are there a lot of how did you say that? Kossuth. Kossuth County, 89%. I mean, how many people in Kossuth County are not Christians? I don't know. Is there a large Muslim population?
Isn't there a packing house in Kossuth?
Is that true? Is that a religious thing?
No,
packing, is that a faith?
but generally, when there's a lot of packing houses, there's a lot of Mexican immigrant workers, and they tend to be Catholic.
Sure. Well, but now here, let's see.
On chat, it says no packing houses.
Oh, okay. No packing houses. Now, I was informed that there's the Tyson plant's in Perry, which is in Dallas County. Yes.
Yes.
Dallas County, 55.9% of Dallas County attends church. So again, are we higher or lower than Dallas County, our neighbors to the west there?
Hey, Chris. We had a caller, Whitney, and she's going back to the can Democrats be Christians
Whitney,
issue.
yes.
She said that there are a lot of them out there, including her, that...
Hey, thanks, Whitney.
Well, at least she knows them.
That's awesome.
I would think so.
Yeah, I would think so too. I would think so too. No, and I that's why I was kind of poking fun at Frank for insinuating that. Thank you, Whitney, for calling in. If you want to join Whitney in her voice, it's 515-244-0077. That is the number to call to get your voice on this. And what it was interesting, this infographic came out in the Des Moines Register. And there's also this meme, and it's the sentiment of a lot of people, and I've seen it for a long time, and it is this. It's better to sit in a boat thinking about God than to sit in church thinking about fishing. Now, I don't know what this sentiment makes people feel. When I read it, it made me feel that going to church isn't important. But Bob, you kind of feel it a different way. Is that right?
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, we want to have a relationship with God, and so part of that relationship is He's on your mind. You're thinking about Him,
right?
And so, which is better, that you're thinking about Him when you're sitting in a boat, or you're thinking about Him, or you're not thinking about Him sitting in a building?
I think it's better to be thinking. It's better to be thinking about Him when you're outside the building. I get what you're saying. I'm maybe understanding this meme, Bob.
Right.
But I just think that, you see church attendance waning in America. And so I don't know. What do you think? So here's the question. Look, in the state of Iowa, the percentage of the population of a county is as high as 89% are attending worship services, 33%. Where's Polk County? I want to know on 99.3 FM. It's your voice we want to hear.
Credit cards are like grandkids. They love you, sometimes get out of control, and it's fun to get a new one. Who can stop them from piling on?
Hi, I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of Des Moines. At the end of the day, you can return the grandkids, but you're stuck paying off bad credit card debt. We'll help you put the fun back into using credit cards responsibly. Right, kids?
Yeah!
If you need help getting credit cards off your back, call Consumer Credit of Des Moines.
Hi, my name is David Burrier, your Hope Coach. I host a live weekly talk show called I've Been There every Thursday afternoon at 5:30, right here on webcast1live.com, and on my weekly radio program Saturday mornings at 10 on Truth Network 99.3 FM. I interview common everyday people who have survived incredible life challenges and who testify to God's faithfulness in the midst of their storms. So join me as we bring a message of hope and encouragement. Everybody needs hope. I know, because I've been there.
Whether you're 10, 25, 50, 80 years old and beyond, everyone needs to live within their means. I'm Tom Coates with Consumer Credit of America. For almost a quarter of a century, we've helped people of all ages learn to manage their personal finances to benefit them far into the future. When problems arise, we've got the experience you need to make those debt problems go away. Got financial problems? Call Consumer Credit of America.
From the RE/MAX Real Estate Concept Studios, this is Webcast One Live.
Good afternoon. It is 4:50 on a Thursday afternoon right here in central Iowa. Thank you for listening. This is Chris Roloff. You're listening to 99.3 FM. The Truth Network is the owner of this radio station. We are The Truth. Find out more about our radio station, please, at truthnetwork.com. Like us on Facebook. Share us with your friends. We have so many new listeners. So many people coming to the station for the very first time, checking us out, and I just thank God for that. I don't think it's an accident that you're listening today, and I'm so glad that you're here. I hope that what we're talking about is important. Today we're just kind of having a lot of fun, having a good time. We're giving away tickets to the VeggieTales Live event that is coming up Tuesday. It's November 3rd, so that's just this Tuesday. Tickets are on sale. You can go to Stevens Auditorium and get the tickets directly from them there. But if you want to get tickets to VeggieTales Live, Bob the Tomato will be there, Larry the Cucumber, and all their VeggieTale friends are coming to Stevens Auditorium in Ames for the all-new, funny, fresh, and unforgettable VeggieTales Live Little Kids Do Big Things tour. I want you to be the third caller. Now, we've had callers that have been the second and first caller, and they called in and they couldn't get tickets. So if that was you, if you called in and you didn't win tickets, if you called in already and said we were out of tickets, it wasn't because we were out of tickets. It was just you weren't the third caller. So we still have tickets for you. So call back. The number is 515-244-0077, 515-244-0077. And before we go to Frank, which we will, sir, here's the question that we're having a lot of fun with. It's been told to us that the number of people attending church or any religious service is going down. It's going down. Down. Here in the state of Iowa, the county with the highest percentage is what county, Frank?
Kossuth?
Kossuth County at 89.4% of the population in Kossuth County attends some religious service. In Decatur County, 33.6% attend a regular worship service. And we've had some guesses, and the question is, how about in Polk County? I will tell you, all my friends up in Boone, you guys rank at 53%. 53% of your county attend regular worship services, and boy, there are some awesome churches in Boone, believe me. I know many great pastors out there. Story County, 49%. Some good churches there, but only 49% in Story County. The question is, Polk County, where do they rank? 89% is the high, 33 is the lowest. Where do we go? Russ called in the break, said about 50% even is what he said. Jan called in and said she thinks we're down at 30%. Well, Jan, maybe we're just the only ones that go, right?
I'm saying less than 50, but...
Frank's saying less than 50. Bob, you're saying what?
No, I said 50.
You said 50.
Are you going to ask me, Chris?
Oh, sorry, Ryan. What was your guess? Ryan had to come in here and try to cheat and look at my sheet and find the answer.
The thing was, I kind of did see it. So if I guessed right now,
well, don't.
You can't guess.
100%.
100%. There it was. Amen. That's what it should be anyway.
All right, back to Bob's question. Is church in a building, or since our body is the temple of Christ and the collective church is the body of Christ, Israel, spiritual Israel, is the church a building, or is church where you sit? If your body's the temple, is church where you sit?
If you're asking me, the church happens to be people.
Okay.
But you would agree, Bob, that the church is the people of God gathered together.
Well, if they're referring to the church like of Polk County, right, that's all of the people that are believers are the church. So there's only one church in Polk County.
Right. There's only one Christian church in Polk County. I'll agree with you that. But if I had a pastor friend of mine, we are the body of Christ, Frank. Right? We are the body of Christ. And as a member of the body, let's just say I'm a hand. I'm a member of a body, but I'm a hand. If you are walking down the street and you see a hand laying on the sidewalk, is that normal?
No,
it's abnormal. And you would say, ooh, that's not normal. That's abnormal.
It's kind of normal for me, but anyway.
It's kind of normal for Bob. Bob, you have a unique job, sir. But it's abnormal. And so I would say that as the body of Christ, we must be coming together. We must be intentionally joining together. And the more the merrier, I say.
Somebody told me once with this analogy that a church attending is like a hot coal. Your hot coal can burn hot by itself out there for a while, but if you put that coal with other hot coals, that hot coal adds heat and generates heat for the others. You're drawing heat off of one another.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what makes me think about the reason why we're talking about this for two reasons. One, there was this Des Moines Register report that came out. You can see the infographic. So if you Google church attendance or in Des Moines or whatever, the Des Moines Register, no doubt you'll be able to see the answer to the question. But there's also this meme that floats around for a long time, and it just says this: it's better to sit in a boat and think about God than to sit in a church thinking about fishing. And I agree, Bob, you kind of pointed this out, that I think maybe what this little saying is getting at is the desire of our heart should be to think about the Lord at all times, no matter where we go.
Right.
No matter what we do, no matter where we go, that we should be thinking about the Lord. And I agree with you, but I think that unfortunately an unintended consequence of this attitude is to forsake the gathering of one another and to say, it's better if I'm on my motorcycle thinking about God than going to church on Sunday.
Well, there's one thing that you don't want to hear when your time is over here. Sorry, I never knew you.
Yes.
You
don't want to hear
you
the
don't,
Lord say that.
You don't want to hear God asking, did you know my son? That's my question to you. And so it's a matter of, do you know him? And that's what he wants. He wants to be one with us.
He does. He wants to have a relationship with us. And the great news is that the creator of the universe, Pastor Spencer Caroff of First Church of the Open Bible, was preaching on this just this week on his radio program, 12:45 at lunchtime every day. He was just preaching on this. How cool is it that the Spirit of God enables us to say Abba, Father, to say Daddy to the creator of the universe? And that's made possible for guys like you, Bob, and guys like me and Frank and Ryan. For those listening, it's made possible only because of the shed blood of Jesus Christ. Because of our sin, we are distant from God. Because we have sin in our life, we are an enemy with God. We are at war with God. And because of Jesus Christ, his blood was shed, cleansing us from that sin and putting us in a relationship with the Father, so that by the Holy Spirit, we can say, Daddy, to the creator of the world. And I love Spencer. If you've never heard Pastor Spencer preach, man, listen at 12:45 every day. That guy gets you. I shout amen in the car. I did that. I was listening to this. Yeah. He makes you want to shout. This is exciting stuff, though. But I've got some news to tell you. We've been asking. Attendance of regular church has gone down in the state of Iowa. Up in the northern counties, it appears more people go to church. Down in the southern counties, it seems like less people go to church. Decatur is the lowest at 33%, 89% up north. Polk County, y'all. The answer is 45% of our population attends church. And in my opinion, that's not enough.
I was right, less than 50.
For all those who said less than 50, you were right. But I just don't think that's enough. I think that we should be fellowshipping one with another more often. So maybe this weekend, invite somebody to church. And everybody's excited about Halloween, and you're going to go trick-or-treating, and you're going to go door-to-door, knocking on stuff, inviting people over to your house to give them candy. Why not invite them to your church?
And what's these numbers during Christmas and Easter?
Right. They skew just a little bit, don't they? Hey, thank you so much for listening to 99.3 FM. We know that you could listen to other things, and you chose to listen to this station, and I thank you for it. We have just an absolute blast doing what we get to do, but it's only because you listen. It's because you tell your friends about 99.3 FM. So thanks for listening.